Islam guides adherents to a life of submission by enticing followers to commit to the paradigm of their religion. Submission is the lens through which a religious tradition is able to worship and give honour to their supernatural deity. In this case, they recognise that it is only Allah who has absolute sovereignty. The pillars of faith form the guidance for adherents to go into a life of submission, particularly Salat, which is when Muslims face Mecca 5 times a day. It occurs at dawn, noon, mid-afternoon, sunset and after dark. This is the primary way that the tradition of Islam guides adherents into a life of submission, as they are constantly having to show their faith and honour towards Allah. Maintain with care the obligatory prayers and in particular the middle prayer and stand before Allah, devoutly obedient. This quote brings to light the importance of Salah to the followers, as you must stand before Allah, something that is clearly very honourable and special. Additionally, Muslims can pray individually at any location or together at a mosque, whilst facing Mecca. At a mosque is where an imam, who is a leader in prayer, conducts the meeting. Finally, men gather for the prayer at noon on a Friday, with women being welcome to come but do not have to participate, and seek help through patience and prayer. And indeed, it is difficult except for the humbly submissive to Allah. This quote alludes to the fact that Salah is of the utmost importance to the Muslims, and it can be very difficult for many, except for the ones that lead a life of submission, further reinforcing the way that the Islamic faith guides its adherents to show faith. A notable Islamic pillar of faith is Hajj, which is the recommended once-in-a-lifetime pilgrimage that Muslims must do if their health and finances permit them. This pilgrimage takes place in Saudi Arabia, and the adherents travel to the holy city of Mecca, where they see the Kaaba, a cubical structure that is believed to be the house Abraham built for God. The quote, "and complete the Hajj and Umrah for Allah," highlights the significance of Hajj to honouring Allah, making apparent the fact that Allah notices the sacrifices that adherents make for Him. Additionally, embarking on Hajj reveals to Allah believers that are leading a life of submission and giving respect to their God. Notably, individuals can embark on the Hajj from all corners of the world, financially and health permitting. The quote, "and proclaim to the people the Hajj. They will come to you on foot and on every lean camel. They will come from every distant pass," further reinforces this, as once the Hajj is proclaimed, people will make lots of sacrifices to embark on it, ultimately leading a life of faith and submission. Tawhid is the most important principal belief of Islam and is the belief in the oneness and unity of Allah, that He is the one God and the creator of all that exists. Tawhid directly translates into unification and is also the belief in Allah and all of His attributes. Tawhid clearly guides Islamic adherents into a life of submission, as all donations, prayers, pilgrimages and fasting are in honour of and directed exclusively to Allah. This in turn nurtures a deep religious faith for adherents in the religion. In reference to Allah, the Quran says, "He is God, the one and only, God, the eternal, absolute." This quote further reinforces the Islamic belief that there is only one God who is Allah, as seen in the words, "the one and only." Importantly, idolatry or shirk is when an adherent worships someone less than or other than God, and is the worst sin any Muslim can commit. If an adherent commits shirk, they are referred to as a mushrik, and the Quran warns that they will become fuel for hellfire on the Day of Judgment, highlighting the severity of committing this sin in Islamic tradition. Furthermore, the lives of Muslims are theocentric, meaning that God is at the centre of everything. This belief is reinforced by the principal belief of Tawhid. Another key principal belief of Islam is Akira. It is the belief about life, death, and the world to come. In Islamic tradition, it is thought that there are 3 levels in the universe. Heaven is called Jannah, and it is believed that all believers will find eternal happiness. There is the present world, which is passing and will eventually come to a dramatic end. Finally, Jahannam is a place of suffering and the resting place of the wicked. Allah has promised those who believe and do righteous deeds that for them there is forgiveness and great reward. This quote suggests that people that follow the guidance of Allah and show good faith throughout their lives will be given many rewards, clearly alluding to Jannah. Akira is also the process of souls moving into the afterlife, and Muslims will be judged on Judgment Day, transpiring after an individual's death. If they are deemed to have committed good deeds in their life and lived out their religion faithfully, they will go to Jannah. However, if they have failed to carry out the word of Allah, they will go to Jahannam. Clearly, this guides Muslims into a life of submission by influencing their dedication to their faith, by directing them to make positive decisions that are correct and moral, ultimately helping them access the afterlife. Additionally, the quote, "and fear the day when you will be returned to Allah, then every soul will be compensated for what it earned, and they will not be wronged," again reinforces the importance of Muslims having to commit deeds in service and mindfulness of Allah's word, in order to gain a pass to the afterlife. To a large extent, Islam leads adherents to lead a life of submission.